Region 9ers. Welcome to the Region 9 podcast, a forum for emergency managers to get their news, open in discussions, and talk about the industry. And thank you for joining us. We are going through the VOADs, the volunteer organizations in active disasters. So last month was April, the Volunteer Awareness Month, the entire month, and a week dedicated to volunteers, which we highlighted CERT, the Community Emergency Response Teams. And this month, today, we're going to be covering Team Rubicon. So Team Rubicon is a volunteer-led humanitarian organization. I'm going to make sure I'm going to read my notes. Built to serve global communities before, during, and after disasters and crises. For Team Rubicon, no operation is too large or small. They go where disaster strikes, helping the people that need us most in moments they need us most. And I'm your host, Isamar Garcia, and this is the IAEM Region 9 Region Talk, the podcast. Region 9 serves Arizona, California, Hawaii, Nevada, the Pacific Trust, and the territories, including American Samoa, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands. So before we jump into learning more about our volunteer organizations in active disasters, our VOADs, and before we learn more specifically about Team Rubicon, just a quick little update with IAEM as a whole, the international organization with IAEM USA, and then with Region 9. So for IAEM International, there is the 2024 Emergency Manager of the Year Award. Nominations are open right now, and the deadline to submit your nomination for the 2024 IAEM Emergency Manager of the Year will be June 30th. Those who are awarded this prestigious award, will be recognized at the IAEM USA Annual Conference Awards Banquet. Alrighty, and I hope to see everyone there in November in Colorado Springs. If you haven't already booked your flight, booked your room, got registration, I hope you do so soon and hope to see you there. The other news with IAEM is the virtual conference. So the IAEM Plugged In 2020 virtual conference is now available on demand. You will have to go ahead and log into your profile to access the on-demand videos from the virtual conference. We also had a kickoff with the virtual conference, the IAEM Plugged In. So thank you to FEMA for having a celebratory mention of their virtual conference. I do want to say a congratulations to all the IAEM USA 40 under 40 who were awarded this prestigious inaugural recognition of the new emerging professionals who are making waves and doing so with great strides in our profession. So congratulations all to the 40 under 40. Glad to see that you are recognized for your work and hope to see other nominations in the 2025, the future 40 under 40. Alrighty, for the region, IAEM Region 9, there will be news soon coming to you in emails, most likely, and social media, and more newsletters about our symposium. So the 2025 IAEM Region 9 Symposium will soon be on everybody's calendar, and we'll get to speak on topics and have presentations and get to network and really hone in all of our emergency managers within Region 9. So more information to come on the IAEM Region 9 Symposium. Alrighty, those are all the updates that we have for IAEM writ large. And now let's welcome our guest, Monika Barber.
Hi, Isamar. Thank you so much for having me. And hi, Region 9.
Yeah, I love it. Monika, please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Thank you. So my name, as she said, Monica, and I am the operations associate for Team Rubicon for Southern California. So that's pretty much everything from the Central Coast all the way down to the border of Mexico that I am responsible for here. It's a pretty awesome gig.
Oh man, I will. One, thank you for joining us. Thanks for introducing yourself, and I'm looking forward to learning more about Team Rubicon. I was a volunteer long time ago. Still have my civilian volunteership. I don't know if it's current. We're not going to get into that topic, but
Say that, not to interrupt you, but
okay, let's start. I'm too excited to learn more about Team Rubicon right now. Let's start with, what is Team Rubicon?
So I have to give you credit. You really covered it in the introduction there, but we are a veteran-led humanitarian organization serving global communities before, during, and after disasters and crises of all kinds. What does that mean? So that means pretty much what it says. We are pretty much volunteer powered. And we serve communities with response organizations after natural disasters, recovery organization operations after natural disasters, and now more recently in the past 5 years, mitigation operations to help communities become more resilient to those natural disasters, so it's not quite as devastating when they do strike, because Mother Nature, she is coming, whether we like it or not. She's here to stay.
You do what you do, that's for sure. How did Team Rubicon start? What's the history, I guess, briefly? Or not briefly, I'm not sure. Can you share the history?
I absolutely can. I'll do my best to be brief, but it's one of my favorite stories. So
we got time. Share all the goodies. Let's go.
So back in 2010, one of our co-founders, Jake Wood, had just finished his service with the United States Marines. He was home, not quite sure what the next steps were, as is kind of a common theme for a lot of veterans who are coming out of the military. They have all these skills, they've had all these years of service and purpose, and then they come back to the civilian life, and now they get to, have this process of reintegration. There's not always a lot of direction in that. So he was going through that process, and for some of us who are watching this, if you remember back in January of 2010, a very devastating earthquake hit the country of Haiti. And he was literally just sitting on his couch, eating potato chips and watching the news when that came up. And he's watching this and thinking to himself, I have skills that could help these people going through this right now. So with that being said, being a Marine, he picked up the phone, started calling his buddies who had also recently just gotten out of the Marine Corps. William McNulty was one of them. Clay Hunt was one of them. And then they all started reaching out to other local first responders and saying, hey, do you want to come with us to Haiti? So through William McNulty's family connections, they were able to coordinate, because at the time it was kind of difficult. They were running into a lot of red tape. So they were able to coordinate through William McNulty with actually a Jesuit brother who ran an orphanage in Haiti. And basically he told him, if you can get to the Dominican Republic, I can get you into Haiti, and you can start helping people. So they put out on Facebook and social media to family and friends, please donate what you can. They packed up what they could and got on a plane and started making their way to the Dominican Republic. And along the way, they ran into other doctors and first responders who just on their own were going to help. And so they kind of all banded together as they went through the different, like London Heathrow Airport. Oh, you're going to Haiti? Join us. We'll take you in. And as they were, making this journey, they said, being a lot of, military veterans in the group, they said, we really need to have like a team or an operation name. And so they were talking about it on the plane. They got on the plane that was flying to the Dominican Republic, and the history of the Rubicon River came up when Caesar was marching with his armies to take back Rome. we're going all the way back. And the Rubicon River was kind of the final divide. Once they crossed that river, there was really no going back. And so Caesar gave the order to his army, once they crossed the river, to burn the boats, so that there was absolutely no option of retreat once they moved forward. So that's kind of become, to a lot of people, like the point of no return. Like, I crossed my Rubicon, point of no return. An additional fun fact is there is an Arbanite River that divides the Dominican Republic and the country of Haiti. And they had to cross that river to get into the country of Haiti. So Team Rubicon was born that day, January 10th, which we now refer to as our Go Day. That was the first operation for Team Rubicon, and that's how we were started, and we've just kept going from there.
Wow, that is awe-inspiring. And thank you to all the Team Rubicon members. All members who are previous and have served or are of prior military service. The terminology is escaping me. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for your service. Wow, thank you so much. I didn't realize, like, we took a history trip in the meantime on that flight too. So thank you for that one.
Oh, that's ancient Rome. Don't worry, we got you.
With the origin happening in such a grassroots level, how does that become Team Rubicon that it is today? How does that happen?
That is a good question. I think there's a lot of factors to that. One of which is something that we are now moved away from, but the cowboy mentality of, like, hey, I can help. Let me just, rush into the need and help where I can. So that was, I think, very attractive to a lot of the original members, because they wanted to serve. They knew they had the skills to help, and they just were like, put me in, coach, let me help people. And so the awesome thing is we haven't lost that part of our origin. We just now do it way more professionally, because we, after a few years, adopted training our volunteer leaders and members in the FEMA ICS training, so that we can integrate seamlessly into local response organizations and stuff. But really, at the heart of it is that our goal is always to get to a yes. When somebody asks us for help, when somebody needs something, the immediate goal is to get to a yes. And so I think that's attractive to a lot of people. I know that's a goal for a lot of organizations, but I think just coming from the veteran-led aspect of Team Rubicon, where we still embrace a lot of those principles from the military of, like, mission oriented, like very structured. We go to step by step, get out there and start helping people. So I think that, as it grew and as they realized, the first couple of years they focused more on international missions. And then they started to realize that, there's actually a lot of things we could be doing domestically as well, with our skills. And so I think that's where it's just super attractive. People like that mentality and can identify with it. And then the second part to that, I think, is the unique kind of secret sauce or special sauce with Team Rubicon here is the super unique way that they found for veterans to come back and find a community, find a mission, and find a purpose. And I am a civilian myself, or I don't know if it's allowed to say this on the podcast, but civilian, as we say in Team Rubicon. But I do have a lot of family members who have served. And I did see, before I knew about Team Rubicon, their struggle to kind of reintegrate to civilian life and kind of still have that connection and that service and that purpose, and be able to know that what they learned in the military, they can still apply to help people. And in a humanitarian organization, no less, which is, really super cool. So I think that's where, for me, I know that's what first attracted me to Team Rubicon when I heard it. about it because I literally thought, you guys cracked the code. Like, wow, this is so amazing. You're giving, and then also to have civilians be able to come and serve alongside veterans, first responders, and kind of be on the same team, working the same job, helping people with the same mission. It just kind of helps all of that into this one really special atmosphere. And I think that's really what has made Team Rubicon super special and grow from that initial group.
You could definitely see why it's passion-driven, passion-led. All of the volunteer organizations in active disasters, and specifically with Team Rubicon, having broken the code to ensure we continue to serve as a, and it is okay, as it is your terminology, a kick-ass civilian. I'm going to point that way for branding for Team Rubicon. And it's such a great avenue. So one, thank you for providing an opportunity for Team Rubicon, for providing an opportunity for civilians and for veterans to continue to serve and help internationally as well as domestically. You mentioned the ICS, the FEMA ICS trainings that you have, your ICS's incident command system. Are there any other trainings that you have your volunteers do, or are there different levels of volunteers? I guess I'm gearing towards, like, how do you operate? How does Team Rubicon operate as a volunteer?
Yeah, absolutely. So joining as a volunteer, or we call gray shirt, you can probably guess why. But when you first join, there's a couple simple steps to take for becoming deployable, as we call it. And it's pretty simple. We have you take Introduction to TR 101, simple course, kind of giving you what I just kind of talked all your ears off about, but it does go a little bit more in depth for sure. And then, we do have some other qualifications that you need to do. And just to make yourself deployable. That's the basic level. So it's really TR 101, going through a background check, which is not because we're looking for saints, but rather we're asking people to let us into their homes on their worst day. And so we want to be able to have that level of accountability to our clients that we serve, and also to each other as gray shirts. And so that's the first level. From there, we do offer a lot of Team Rubicon created trainings to be able to empower our volunteers to go out to deployments with some skills. So they're not learning on the job, but don't worry if you go out and learn on the job, that works too. We have our core operations, which will teach you to do muck outs, and also how to manage debris according to FEMA standards. We have sawyers, which are chainsaw operators. So we have trainings through that. We also do site surveys, which is how we create job orders on deployments. And so that's going out, assessing what the need is of the client, documenting all of that down, and getting that. And there's several others that there's a whole catalog, to be honest, that we could go through. The ones I just mentioned are all in-person trainings for the most part that you would do at the local level as once you become a gray shirt. And then we do have a whole catalog of online trainings through Cornerstone that are absolutely free, that you can just go through at your own time, anything that kind of sounds good to you or interesting. But really, those are all just kind of the cherry on top, the addition. We'd love to have you take those, but if you sign up and just get the 2 requirements to get deployable, that works too. And we're all pretty friendly folk, so we will help you and answer any questions. And it's really an awesome learning environment either way.
Well, we're all here to do the thing, to serve, to deploy, to help someone on their worst day. You mentioned Cornerstone, and is Cornerstone your learning management system?
It is, I believe it's not specific to Team Rubicon. It is one that is used by other organizations, but we use it as well. And it makes it easy to host, the online trainings and have that. What is specific to Team Rubicon is our gray shirt portal called Roll Call. So once you sign up with Team Rubicon as a gray shirt, you will be created a roll call account, and that is where you can go through the process of looking at all those wonderful trainings. You will get connected with a local leader in your area. They usually will reach out to you via email or phone to welcome you as soon as you sign up. And then you can go from there and explore the event calendar. I know I've talked a lot about deployments so far, but I do want to touch on, there are also plenty of local opportunities that are like one day on a weekend, like a Saturday or a Sunday, where you can come out, and it's a lot of community service focused things. So just recently, we had last weekend, we served at a local farm in the Inland Empire called Cultivating Inclusion, and they provide jobs for adults and give them the opportunity to learn some skills and such. And then they donate all of the food that they grow there to local food banks in Riverside County. So they needed some additional help with some pruning and some weed whacking. So our gray shirts went out there, about 10 of them last weekend, and helped it out. So there's a wide variety of things to do. So don't be intimidated. You can sign up and you can like dip your toe in on those type of local events and service projects, and then kind of work your way up to, what you're comfortable with, whether that be, doing a full-blown muck out on a deployment, or, operating a chainsaw, taking that training and getting qualified to start working that side of things. Heavy equipment, all of those things are there. They're options, but we also have some more life-friendly, schedule-friendly options as well that are very impactful to your immediate local community as well.
Now, what about the people who want to just dive into the deep end? Is there an availability to become a Team Rubicon instructor, or what are the other type of, deep end, I really want to get involved areas of service?
So the first one I would say is volunteer leadership. As I touched on earlier, we are a volunteer force organization. For context, I am the only paid staff member for the entirety of Southern California. Everyone else on the team is a volunteer leader or a gray shirt, which is pretty powerful if you think about it, because so we have in every geographical area team, so Southern California is a geographical area team, we have metro leadership teams. And within those metro leadership teams, they are the volunteer leaders who are really responsible for, they find those opportunities for service. They connect with the local emergency managers. They connect with, the local authorities and community leaders, and make sure that they know Team Rubicon is here and what we can do and how we can collaborate. And then, so that's an awesome way to get involved if you really just want to like dive in and do that. It's also really awesome for me. I was actually a volunteer leader for a little over 4 years before I became staff. And the main reason for that was because I worked another job and I couldn't deploy as much as I would like. So having that opportunity for service just after my day job was really cool, and on the weekends. So if you want to dive in, there's that option, full force. And then I know you mentioned the instructors, which is another volunteer leader, and it's a really great option for people who do have those full-time jobs and want to give back. There is a process to becoming an instructor. You do have to take Instructor 1 class, which is an in-person class. They are offered locally on a pretty regular basis. And then from there, you can take a couple of the classes I mentioned earlier, like the site survey or the other ones. And the one that really speaks to you that you're like, I want to become an instructor for that. you let someone like me, your ops associate, know, and then we get you into a train the trainer for that. And then the commitment from there is just teach 2 classes in a calendar year. And they're like 1-day classes for the most part, except for the Sawyer and heavy equipment, but that's another story. But the rest of them, for the most part, are just a 1-day class. So,
right on. You mentioned the connection with local emergency managers. What, if any, are other capabilities or other resources that local emergency managers can use with Team Rubicon?
For sure. Yeah. So our capabilities within Team Rubicon, like I said, we've got, our response capabilities, which technically are usually like core operations, those muck outs, roof tarping, those immediate need responses. We also do have gray shirt volunteers who are qualified to help run emergency operation centers when things really get bad. Most recently in Hawaii, last year when the fires hit, we had, I believe it was 2 months straight of volunteer gray shirts volunteering at the local EOC there in Maui, along with many other gray shirts there volunteering, the local gray shirts. But so that's a kind of unique capability that we have with Team Rubicon, specific to what we can offer to emergency managers. And during COVID, also a lot of our gray shirts actually helped out at EOC, helped staff EOCs during that. So throughout the country. So that was pretty cool. And like I said, like it's really nice because Team Rubicon, we encourage our volunteers and our volunteer leaders to, increase their knowledge of the National Incident Management System, NIMS. We do offer classes through, Team Rubicon with, of course, the qualified instructors, but for 300, 400, all the, advanced
Nice.
classes on that. So we really encourage people, again, not required, but we do encourage that. And the nice thing is it just makes a really nice mix of what we can offer to the local emergency managers with that in mind. So with the, providing an educated and, knowledgeable gray shirt where we can just integrate right in there with them and they
Love
have
it.
that confidence in Team Rubicon.
Plug and play. It's the best. Where can we find more resources? And if I were to become a member, or if our listeners were to become a member with Team Rubicon, how can I locate other members?
Good question. So there is a teamrubiconusa.org/how to get involved link that we have. If you click on that, that will take you to the page right there where you can sign up as a gray shirt. And once you sign up as a gray shirt and your roll call account is created, the magic of the computer systems will sort you into your geographical area team, and more specifically your metro team. So no matter where you're located in the country, they will sort you into that area. And so we do have on the homepage of the roll call, there's your local contact, which is your most local contact. So it's typically a metro, a member of the metro team. And like I said, also typically you will also get an email, a phone call, or a text saying, "Hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to TR." Hey, Samar knows all about that. Want to know how to get involved? So that's the first start with that. And then from there, typically they will send you in that, kind of welcome email. There's obviously the official Team Rubicon Facebook page, but there are local Facebook pages that are specific. They're typically called, like for us, it's SoCal Gray Shirts. So if anybody stumbles upon it, it's not to be confused as the official TR Facebook or Instagram page, but the local gray shirt group. And that's a really great tool that's provided to you to join that Facebook group, that Instagram page, and a lot of networking happens there. And then there's the event calendar, and you can filter that, again, access through your roll call account, and you can filter through their specific events, within a certain amount of miles even as to where you're located. So yeah, that's how you can kind of get tied in with the local gray shirts.
I love when things magically or auto-magically appear. It's the best. Thank you, Monika, for joining us on this episode. We will be sure to share the resources in our next newsletter, as well as in any other social media avenue that we can. Please let our audience know where they can contact or how they can contact you or where to find you.
Absolutely. So my email address, which, speaking of things magically appearing, is monika.barber@teamrubiconusa.org. So please don't be shy. Reach out anytime, any questions. I'm always happy to answer.
Thank you so much for joining us. I greatly appreciate your time here, sharing with us your experience with Team Rubicon and how others can get involved. And we will be chatting soon. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening. Alrighty, well, that was Team Rubicon. I hope that you were inspired, as well as our last episode insert, and stay tuned for our next month episode when we dive into American Red Cross. So thank you, Region 9ers, for joining us. And as always, we owe one big thank you, massive thank you to the man behind the controls, behind the screen, Brian at Sitch Radio, for being an awesome producer. And just a reminder, if you haven't already, follow us on all of our IAM Region 9 socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, to get the most updates for what is happening. And as always, keep on rocking, Region 9. We appreciate you.